when you break up, you also tend to get into the comfort zone of feeling pity for yourself, because there is a lot of ego involved in breakup that we don't want to talk about. Like, how could he decide that he doesn't want to be with me?
I feel like all my breakups have been a process, an education in what I don't want in a relationship.
Closure is actually just accepting things, not having the need to go and tell that person, not having the need to say all your hurt, all your anger. When you just learn to accept, it's like how they say the opposite of love is not hatred, it's indifference. So closure is when you reach that
point of indifference.
Hollywood has really sold us this whole concept of romantic love, but I don't think any other guy is supposed to complete you like a circle.
What advice would you have for your younger, heartbroken self?
I think first I'll just go and give one slap. You're crying over this guy, oh my goodness, what is wrong with you?
Breakups. We've all been there, curled up in bed as if the world is crashing down on us as we question everything we thought we knew about love. I'm Leeza Mangaldas, and this is Love Matters. And today we're talking about the messy terrain of heartbreak and breakups. I'm so excited today to be in conversation with Merenla Imsong, who is one of my favorite content creators and someone who has the uncanny ability to reveal the messier parts of what it means to be human, the sides of ourselves that we typically hide or ignore. Merenla is also an actor and a writer and a comic. She's from Nagaland, now based in Mumbai, and I'm a big fan, Merenla. So I'm so happy that we're going to be talking today, even though it's about a rather unhappy topic. Or it can be happy though, right?
I mean, yeah.
Sometimes a breakup is exactly what you need.
Yes. And looking back, I think all the breakups I've had, they were exactly what I needed at that point of time. Even though that's not how I felt.
Yeah, it doesn't, you don't see it when it happens.
No. When it's happening, oh my goodness, it is like, the whole world is falling apart. I remember once during a breakup, my friend came with a bouquet of flowers, and she said, "You're gonna be laughing about this in 2 months." And she's like, "You're not laughing now, but in 2 months, we are gonna have this conversation again. I'm gonna remind you how I told you that you'll be laughing, and you will be laughing."
And were you laughing?
Yeah, we were laughing.
Perfect, yes.
We were joking about it.
Yeah, I think sometimes breakups are necessary. I mean, mainly when they happen, they needed to happen, right? How do you know when a relationship is over?
I think it's when things become extremely dull. You're not excited to talk to the other person. There's nothing. When it becomes just a habit, and a very boring habit, that you wake up and you're like, like when you wake up, it is a habit to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Oh, it's also a necessity to go brush your teeth, but you treat it like that, like, 10 o'clock, let me call him and say, good morning, yes, you have a good day too, goodbye. And nothing's coming from the heart, and it's just a monotonous thing that's going on. And I think you know it, and a lot of times we are just in denial. All the breakups that have happened should ideally have happened at least 2 months prior to the date of the breakup, because it's
only
just
2 months, that's okay.
Or maybe even more,
years?
because it's just like, years also, because it's just like you're just dragging this stone, you're dragging this humongous boulder, and you don't want to let go because you're so used to dragging that boulder that now you're comfortable dragging that stupid boulder along with you.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I think sometimes breaking up can seem like exiting a comfort zone, and so we tolerate a lot of stuff that retrospectively is like, how did I endure that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I leave sooner?
Yeah, exactly. And like, speaking of comfort zones, when you break up, you also tend to get into the comfort zone of feeling pity for yourself, because there is a lot of ego involved in breakup that we don't want to talk about. Like, how could he decide that he doesn't want to be with me? There's a lot of ego involved, and you just want the other person to feel sad when you've been broken up with. So it's extreme measures. You either go out and you try to pretend that you're having so much fun, or you just want to wallow in self-pity because you want the pity of everyone around you, and you just start enjoying being a victim. Then now you're super comfortable being, poor me, oh please pity me. I've been through that. So yeah.
What are you like in a breakup? Are you Like, I wish you well, or plates breaking, kicking, screaming. What do you like?
I'm like, how could you do this to me? And then, like, oh, go down the wall crying. Though I've had two polar opposite reactions to two breakups, and one was a very mature breakup, and one was just me throwing tantrums. And it's so embarrassing seeing it now, but the tantrum wala breakup, I grew up so much as a result of it, because I just wanted to be sad. And my friend, I remember she was like, you just sulk for a month and you'll be fine. So I sulked for a month, and after that 1 month mourning period was done, I was like, wait a minute, what am I going to do? Oh no, I'm going to just continue sulking, because now I had gotten so comfortable in sulking. My friends calling me saying, how are you feeling, should I send you food, so I started enjoying like all of this, and I just wanted to and I was like, I want him to know that he has made me suffer. He should feel guilt, he should feel remorse, he should be crying at the fact that he's made me cry, so I was very, very immature, until I think after a point of time I slowly started realizing that, wait, he's not the villain. I also contributed a lot. There were things I shouldn't have done. There were things I shouldn't have said. I also have certain problems that I need to work on. Like I have all these attachment issues that I need to work on, and after that realization dawned on me, then things started changing a lot for me. So the growth happened after I stopped insisting on being the victim. So that was nice.
I also am often tempted to see myself as perfect, and it's always the other person's fault that something doesn't work out. But I recognize also that in many ways I am hard to love. I think like we all would do ourselves a big service the sooner we recognize that, like,
yes,
everyone is hard to love, every single, especially if you're living together. You just refuse to accept your faults. It's one of the most difficult things. Because, and I mean, you and I are pretty flawless, but just saying.
And you're so stubborn. Like, hey, you did this. Yeah, but you did this, which is a bigger fault than mine. Therefore, your fault shadows my fault. And in a relationship, when fights are happening, you tend to do that. Like, I may have done that, but you did this. So I want you to apologize first, and it becomes a competition.
When it really, I mean, we do well to acknowledge that we are both in our own ways neurotic and difficult. And,
exactly.
I mean, I think the relationship really asks the impossible of two people in a way, especially if the expectation is forever. Like, I wonder if I could ever do forever. What's the longest relationship you've been in? Because when you were talking about breakups, you mentioned like it took me a month or 2 months, or like we should have left 2 months earlier, which makes me think maybe they were not super long.
They would. It was a 3-year relationship.
But that's pretty long.
Yeah, but then towards the end, it became a long-distance relationship. So this one was my mature breakup, which I'm very proud of. So 3 years we were together, and then it became long distance. We didn't even meet each other for a year. So, and we became like buddies. We were just friends. The romantic aspect of it just died. But I was so used to having someone to just call and like talk to, just random stuff like, hey, this, just random things, and then he was the one who actually pointed out and said, we're not even romantic anymore. We're like buddies. You're almost like my bro. Like, he's like, that's not the kind of relationship I want. But because I get so used to comfort, I was like, no, this is fine. This is how relationships are supposed to be. And he said, no, there has to be romance in a relationship. We just can't be just two friends. And on top of that, long distance. So we had a lot of chats about it. Should we? Yeah, we should not. Should we? We should not. I have attachment issues, is what I realized over the course of time. I was like, no, I don't want to let go, because we can just let this continue, long distance. We talk to each other twice a day. I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. And he said, no, you should not be content with that. There should be more. There should be a bond, and that bond is just nothing much right now. So finally we had the chat, we had a conversation, and then we decided to break up. And it was almost like a contract ending, you know? It was like we had the chat, and then we had the follow-up chat on the phone, and then we wished each other well, yeah, you know, like in between we cried, and then we're like, yeah, this is the best, okay. And we still laugh about it. We're like, if both of us had been in person with each other, we probably would have shook hands after the breakup, you know? And we continued to be such good friends after that. My parents were confused. They're like, didn't you guys break up? Yeah. Why does he come home to just say hello that, oh, we're friends? My parents were like, no, I thought you were supposed to hate each other, you know? And, but that was nice to just break up and continue being friends. Because once that thing went from our heads that, oh yeah, the romance actually never worked out, we actually just became friends over the course of the relationship. And once we accepted that, we became such good friends. Yeah. My father was really upset with the breakup.
He liked the boy?
He really liked the guy, yeah.
Oh.
My father was like, and he never told me, but my mom told me that your dad is taking time getting over the breakup.
I think it's interesting how families can also play a role in our relationship, especially in India, where in a way the families tend to get a little bit more involved in the decisions of their children's partners, where I suppose some people may even stick it out in a relationship in order to please their, you know, because leaving people, I think there's also a stigma around divorce, for example. So if you're married, or, you know, if your partner is known to the family somehow, like there's all of that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like luckily you haven't had to encounter those sorts of pressures, and you could leave if you wanted to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate because my father was a divorcee, and then he and my mother married, but then I was born before they could get married. So they faced a lot of stigma already. So I guess they never wanted me to go through any of that, because they were like, yeah, we majorly messed up during our youth, but we're not going to control you with anything. So I've been very fortunate that way.
Me too. My parents also divorced. Well, yours are still together.
Yeah,
mine got divorced after.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you know, they're very understanding. They were like, they've never pressured me to anything. They questioned my
choices.
My choices.
Yeah,
like,
mine too.
Are you sure? Well, we still love you, but okay, you know. And then they just and they've never pressured me to get married, which is the best part. My mom, she told me I don't really need to get married. Then she told me, oh, you can get married at the age of 45. 45 is also not too late to get married. It's like she'll just throw random things around, you know. My father has never brought up the topic of marriage. He just wants a grandchild. And he's just, you know, it's like, and he'll make jokes around me. He'll be like, oh, my back is itching. Like, oh, what happened? It's because there needs to be a grandchild there. Some random shit he'll make up, you know. And he'll look and like, oh, look at all these old men with their grandchildren. And he'll just look longingly and all of that stuff.
So I suppose breakups don't bode well when the child hasn't yet. Have the child, then break up. Well, I must not digress. Back to the cheery topic of breakups.
Oh, breakups, yes, of course.
Although it does sound, relatively, from what I've heard so far, like you haven't had a catastrophic breakup. And you said you dealt with one with more melodrama than the other.
Yes.
But you know, some people's breakups like involve a devastating situation where there's an end that is beyond ever recovering a friendship, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Have you had like one of those really messy, ugly breakups, or have they generally been civilized? You're able to be friends with your exes?
There's only one ex with whom I've been friends. I've not been in proper relationships before this first relationship, you know, because sometimes you're in these situations where you think you're in a relationship with this guy, but he doesn't see it the same way. So I had a few of those until I found this guy with whom I had a proper relationship. So it made me feel very secure, I guess that's why I had a lot of respect for him. And you know, like it was my first proper relationship and all of that, and we just had a lot of mutual respect for each other. So the respect never went anywhere.
That's wonderful. So now we've established exes can be friends.
Yes.
Have you ever gotten back with an ex?
Yes.
Do you think that the breakup or I don't know, separation allowed for perspectives that then enriched the relationship. Tell me the story.
Yes. In fact, it's my current relationship. It's like we like to call it the second season of our relationship. Okay, and we joke about
that.
it.
Better than season 1.
Yeah. And season 2 has been a lot better than season 1. And I'm like, am I being delusional when I say this? Am I being delusional? Because it is, you break up with someone and then you go back.
2 questions that came to mind. One, what do you think closure looks like for you? And also, what did the fact that you'd broken up or ended season 1 add to the prospect of season 2 being successful, if that makes sense? Were there lessons or some sort of takeaway?
There were a lot of takeaways. There were a lot of lessons. And I think with me, my guard also went up and I learned to establish boundaries. I think my head was not screwed on the right place in season 1 is what I can say. And I just let myself go, and I learned, I was like, no, I will do what I want, instead of just being so enamored by someone and just saying yes to everything that they're asking me to do. And he picked up on that and he's like, I know you're helping me out, whatever, and it's not coming from your heart, it's because you're forcing yourself to do all of this. You don't have to. And I didn't realize it. And then I was like, no, wait, I want to do my own stuff, and I think the way we view closure is never a one-step process, because we always like, oh, I need closure. I need to have this one conversation where I let out everything. You let out everything. After 3 days, you remember like some 2 points that now you want to add to that conversation. And you're like, wait, I need to call and now say these 2 points. Then it keeps going on. So we always see closure as this thing where we go and tell that person everything that is bottled up and all our anger and throwing up anger. Like closure is this projectile vomit of all your anger and your frustration that comes out after a breakup. But closure is actually just accepting things and not having the need to go and tell that person, not having the need to say all your hurt, all your anger. When you just learn to accept, it's like how they say the opposite of love is not hatred, it's indifference. So closure is when you reach that
point of
indifference where you just don't give a shit, you don't care, you're like, yeah, it happened.
It's over,
it's in the past,
Do you think that in an era of dating apps and, constant sort of opportunities to meet a new person, etc., do you think that we always owe someone a breakup, or have you ever ghosted anyone? Like when does a interaction qualify as something that requires a formal acknowledgement that it is over?
Oh, wow. So I was on a dating app 8 years ago, I think, for a few months. And I met 2 people. Like one date where hello, hi, yes, cheers, okay, goodbye, nice meeting you, and that was it. And the other one was twice. Once was hi, hello, yes, nice coffee, yes, nice juice, and then should we meet again? Okay, we can go watch the movie, and the conversation just trailed off.
I'm not a huge fan of long explanations when it's not yet like.
Yeah. When do you give that long explanation?
And would you say that in your previous sort of more significant relationships, you mentioned, I don't know how many relationships we're referring to, but I've kept track of like 2 significant ones.
That's it.
So have you not yet been the initiator of a breakup?
Yeah,
that's
I have
interesting.
Not. Yes.
Because I would imagine the dynamic changes a little based on who's kind of takes the initiative. Usually if one party thinks they should break up, it's probably best even for the party who doesn't want. Like, why would you want to be with somebody who's not feeling it, right?
Not feeling it, exactly.
But I think that the dynamic shifts based on who takes the initiative to end a relationship.
But also,
do you think
who takes the initiative also seems to have more power in the relationship, because sometimes I think people threaten to break up as like a power trip, because they know this person does not want to break up with them, so they bring up that, well, I'm going to break up with you, because they just want to feel more powerful in a relationship. Also, the person who's breaking up seems to be coping with it better because they have thought about this. They have already, it's only after they've processed, weighed the pros and cons and everything that they have come to you with the proposition that we need to break up. You know, so that person might heal earlier than the one who's being broken up with. Am I getting my English correct? Yeah. It's just the time. It's just time. Yeah. Who has reached there first? Who has come to the conclusion first? Yeah.
And would you say that some of the experience of heartbreak ends up dragging itself along into the next relationship?
Yeah, of course, which we don't realize. See, the habits, bad habits from previous relationships that you drag on. Not even previous relationships. It's what you see at home during your childhood. You know, like things that you've seen your parents do. Like, I think all of us at one point of time, we've seen our parents go through a patchy part in their marriage. And I remember even with my parents, when they would argue, my father would get annoyed and he would just leave and go to a friend's house and stay. Like, just go to a friend's house and then come back at night or something like that. But so as a kid, I was so used to seeing that whenever I would fight in a relationship, I would just want to pack up my bags and leave. You know, it'd be like, oh, I don't want to see you, I'm going home. I want to see you, you know. And it took me so much time to realize, I was like, shit, I'm just mirroring what I saw as a child. I'm trying to be my dad, you know. And so not just relationships, but stuff.
Even your childhood,
even your childhood. I think it just drags things that we just keep, things that we see as kids. We don't realize how much it has affected us, how much it's just so deeply rooted in us.
Our first reference points, right?
Yeah, and we carry it for so long, and then it comes out at the most unexpected moments, and you don't even realize it.
That's so true. Do you think that breakups make you a little bit more wary in love every time? Like, did you have a first love where you know, like went all in with such abandon, like the love of someone who's never been hurt?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I sometimes think about myself and like wonder if I can ever love with that intensity, because I'm just like a bit jaded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but I wouldn't say jaded. It's just you've learned to be mature. Your first love, you're just like, oh, tra-la-la-la-la, we're going to have 3 kids, we're going to get married in 2 years, and, you know, we're going to sail in heaven, and the clouds are just going to fall on us, and flower petals will fall on, there'll be rose petals on our path everywhere we walk. You just start making up these fantasies. But with every relationship, you become more and more pragmatic, which is the way to go. You have to be practical. You can't always have your,
Yeah, I suppose so. But I think I'm also wary of the fact that sometimes I might bring trauma from a previous relationship into a new one, where this poor new guy like does not, and that, you know, where you're like cautious about things because you had that experience once.
Yeah.
But where in a way you also deny the other person the opportunity to really be different, because you're kind of coming in wounded.
Yeah.
Have you had that sort of experience as well?
Yeah, because you come in, the thing, it's like you said, wounded. So a wounded animal will still try to attack you, will not always just be wounded. So you're wounded, but you're still trying to bite. So they have no idea how to approach you, no idea how to maneuver around your behavior. And I think that happens a lot. With me, the tendency to shut down, you know, is a lot, until one day my boyfriend told me, he said, this silence of yours it's very violent. There's no words coming out, but it is very violent to the other person. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I need to talk. I can't bottle everything up. I actually need to talk, huh? And then I thought, and I was like, oh yeah, childhood trauma, when things would happen, I wouldn't know how to react, and I would just shut down, you know?
That's such an interesting and powerful description of silence as violent.
Yeah. And because you always think you are right, and when your partner points out something about you which is so wrong, and and when you realize at that point, you come to that it really shocks you, and you're also like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm messed up in that area. I have to work on that. You're just speechless.
Where do you turn to for healing, or what are your strategies for healing after a breakup?
Food. Food is great, and friends.
Friends.
Yeah. You have, luckily, I have the sharp-tongued friend. Then I have the supportive friend. Then I have the listener friend. So everyone just contributes a little of everything. So the sharp-tongued friend is the one who just gave me flowers and said, "We're gonna laugh about it in 2 months." Yeah, like that. Then the other one gave food and was at work, but video calling me and saying, "It's okay. Oh, look at you. You look so ugly when you're crying, but it's okay, So it's like that wide support network that really gives strength.
Do you think that to that extent, women have an advantage in that we tend to have a sharper ability, a better skill at being vulnerable with each other, like stronger social connections?
Yeah.
I often think do bros sit and
do they
share their
cry?
heartbreak? I don't think they do.
No.
I don't think they do. I think that often a woman becomes a straight man's complete emotional world, and then he does not know what to do when she leaves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how men deal with their emotions, because we women, we gather, we talk, we cry together, I've had so many incidents where a friend is crying and I don't know why they're crying, and I'm also crying with them, I'm so sorry whatever's happening to you. We just feel, and
we let ourselves feel.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful.
Men, you guys should try it sometime.
You guys should.
Yeah.
Get together and cry.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Do you find that in terms of what you're looking for in a partner, breakups actually serve as a really important learning experience? I often think I learn a lot about myself, as well as what I actually want from a relationship or partner, when I have healed enough to look back objectively at why it didn't work out.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me more clarity.
Yes.
What I actually, I feel like all my breakups have been a process, an education in what I don't want in a relationship.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
They might hurt, but you come out
the school of life that
wiser.
You're going
Exactly.
through. Yeah, you're graduating with honors every time.
Because I also think, what other project in life that can cause so much pain do we then set forth to do all over again? You know what I mean? Anything with a 50% chance of failure, or where you've already experienced pain several times.
Yes.
Would you return to with such enthusiasm?
Yes,
once
exactly.
healed, other than love? I don't know a single other thing I do.
Yeah.
Anew, even though I've just had my heart. Not just, but do you know what I mean? We're very optimistic about love as a species. We're probably hardwired into it. But I also think we learn from our breakup.
Yeah, and it's hilarious how after a breakup, you're never being in a relationship ever again, never looking at a man ever again. And 6 months later, oh, I met this guy. We just become so dizzy and so happy all over again. We are.
Which is quite, our resilience is something to be.
Crazy tolerance that we have. Yeah.
I suppose the pros.
As long as we're not repeating the same mistakes and moving forward. So, but then you also kind of miss parts of your previous relationship and your present relationship, and all of that. If you're with my previous relationship, we were such good friends also because we were from the same community, and that makes it so much easier. Because you have the same background, you speak the same language, you understand the same local jokes from back home, Versus now I'm with someone who's from a completely different culture, so he's not going to understand the same kind of jokes I would crack with the other guy. So I would be oh, I wish he understood my jokes, the jokes from my village, those kind of things, yeah. But then we would bond in a way that I would never bond with the ex. It's oh, I'm leaving something behind. I missed something from there, but I've gained something new from here. I don't think any guy, Hollywood has really sold us this whole concept of romantic love, but I don't think any other guy is supposed to complete you like a circle like that, you know? There's a lot of adjustments that you need to learn to make. And women, we come into our full being, our full form after we cross 30, I feel. In your 20s, you have no idea what on earth is happening. You're just going and like you're getting your head hit here, then you're going and bumping into something else here. You know, you're just figuring out life. You're not emotionally
men
mature.
too. I mean, in general, like we're babies still.
Yeah.
In our 20s.
And in our 30s, then we start realizing, oh wait, this is what I want. This is what I want. You know, which is why I don't know. I feel sometimes women who marry too early
don't get the chance to get to know themselves.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the fact that you mentioned the differences between dating somebody from a similar community or culture versus somebody who is from an entirely different one.
Yeah.
People assume that a same community makes you more like that's the premise of relationships in India, right? We're in an endogamous culture where people's families kind of push them into marrying within the same religion, and yet, I mean, it really is no guarantee for compatibility at all. And actually, it's kind of insular. And I mean, I'm a big fan of cross-cultural romances. I love hearing about them. And so, would you agree that maybe while you may romanticize certain aspects of having a shared cultural reference point, would you agree that there's also something to be said for the fact that compatibility, the most important aspect of it, is actually beyond that? Like you can have the shared, like either it's there or it's not there, and your shared community reference point cannot bring that thing that needs to be there. Do you agree? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you can bring in the spark through so many other things. You know, like your community upbringing does not guarantee that you will end up liking the exact same thing. You will understand the same jokes, you will like the same kind of food, but maybe your favorite country to visit is not the same. You know, your choices will be different. Your taste in movies will not be the same. You know, the way you view marriages will not be the same. So, and all of that is achieved through people from another community. You know, like I remember with my ex, I was like, you know, just if you're gonna get married, like court marriage is fine. And he was very adamant. He was like, no, I think, you know, any marriages you have to get it done in the church. You know, he was adamant on that. I was like, yeah, I understand, but if you get married in a church, you're going to have to invite so many people. I'm not dealing with the stress of that. So, like these little things where the little disagreements start popping up.
Yeah, I suppose it's also kind of difficult not to compare one's relationships with each other.
Yeah.
So I suppose I didn't mean to encourage you to do that. I'm sure there were good aspects of both relationships.
Interesting is, it's so funny, like you can meet someone from a completely different culture, and you will, if you're going to find a point of connection, you will still find a point of connection. You know, you can still find the connection with someone with whom you don't even speak the same language.
That's what I think. It's there or it's not.
Yeah, it's either there or not.
Yeah. And you know, quite quickly, I feel like it's not about looks. It's not about. It's like an intangible quality that's either present or not, and you can only really tell if you meet. I don't think you can tell from a photo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So, what advice would you have for your younger, heartbroken self if you could go back with all the wisdom you have today?
I think first I'll just go and give one fat slap. You're crying over this guy. It's this guy. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with you? And then just tell myself that, wow, see, I just have so much, I just want to scold my younger self, like, why would you waste your time on this guy? No. Yeah, you have so much more in life that you're going to achieve, that you cannot be spending your time crying over this guy. You know, the kind of men, this is like the first love guy, okay, was that useless guy. Like, I was like, now I look back, I'm like, what a waste. First love, all of that energy went towards some useless guy in college, you know, like, and all of that. And it's, and just tell myself that you are gonna go and meet such much better men who are you're gonna learn and grow with much better men, and you're gonna actually grow up. You're gonna grow so much. If you see where you're gonna be 10 years from now, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be very impressed with yourself. So stop crying over this guy. Yeah.
I love that.
Silly. It's stupid. Yeah.
I think we would all do well to,
go back and
tell our younger selves.
Yeah. I think anyone who goes back, I don't think anyone would go. I mean, most of us who go back in the past will just scold our younger selves. Like.
Yeah, like this thing that you think is the end of the world today.
Yeah. The world is, trust me, it's not ending. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that we'd all do well to go back and reassure our younger selves that we are going to get through this.
Yes.
Merenla, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for
had
opening
a lot of fun.
up on this quite personal topic.
Yeah, I opened up quite a lot.
I know.
Like, wow, look at all that opening up that I've been doing.
But speaking of, I'm sure our viewers and listeners would also really enjoy watching your content. So can you tell everyone where they can find you?
I am available on Instagram. Wow, is that even a proper sentence?
Follow
I'm on Instagram. And it's my name. It's not a very easy name to pronounce. It's Merenla _Imsong, I think. It's my name. If you look, my bio says aspiring cult leader, so don't go follow the wrong cult leaders is what I will say. But I'll be happy to see you guys on Instagram.
She's also been in some amazing shows. You should look out for Merenla. Everything she does is really special.
I am going to be on one amazing show next year, so excited for you guys to watch it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Love Matters. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Love Matters is produced by Indian Express and DW, Germany's international broadcaster. If you have a question, topic suggestion, or any feedback you'd like to send in, you can reach us at lovematters@dw.com. Please do share this, leave us a review, a comment, and till next time, this is me, Leeza Mangaldas, and I believe love matters.